This is Wild on 7th, your favorite Wild podcast.
Did you guys see this? This is unbelievable. What is that all about, Kinger?
Get in here for the real thing. Like, let's get weird.
Maybe I blacked out trying to figure out what was going on.
Doubt, worry, fear, because that's what we're breaking the mold on here.
Welcome to Wild on 7th, presented by Pilot Games. We're here until it's here.
Welcome back to Wild on 7th, your favorite Wild podcast presented by Pilot Games. Hey, Kinger, listen, it's been, an up and down season to say, the least. The product on the ice has been up and down. Things off the ice have been up and down. The Wild play and start to win some games in South Florida last week and get themselves back into the playoff conversation, come home, big matchup against Nashville. Everything's looking good. Going into the third period with the lead, fall short. Lose that game. Regulation. Don't get a point. Saturday, rebound, hockey day. Terrific record on hockey day. It's like, all right, we're going to get right back on this against a team that you should beat in Anaheim. Lead going into the third period, and you give up 2 goals, lose that game, and all of a sudden now where it's almost like a microcosm of the entire season the last week. It's you start to get ramped up, you see them play to their potential, everything's going well, and then just hit the skids and the wheels completely just fall off all of a sudden. You were able to watch. So hockey day was great, terrific. Let's get into that. Warroad was fantastic, everything about it, and we'll get into more on that. I wasn't able to watch the Saturday game with audio and see how it went. I was at Seven Clans Casino in Warroad, checking in or trying to get into my hotel room. That's a story for a little bit later too, and just had to watch from afar as Anaheim pulled away in the third period. Did you watch?
Yeah, that was a tough one. We're chasing it. We had this math you and I were doing, 4 points out of 6, right? You might have got beat by Tampa, but then you smoked Florida, and you still got 4 out of 6. So staring at these 3 home games, you beat up on Washington. You lose the Nashville game that everybody had circled on the calendar, but then I'm like, well, you got Anaheim on the back of it. You can still get 4 out of 6. I'm wearing my Turks and Caicos shirt today because Duhaime and some of them are on the All-Star break. I was ready to leave, reset, good taste in my mouth. And then, they were leading, and they couldn't close it out, same as Nashville. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's a coaching thing or when you have a lead and you can't lock it down. It was troubling.
Well, I think you just have to look at the math, and that makes it troubling. So they hadn't lost a game in which they've had a lead going into the third period all year. Now back-to-back games they do.
When it counts.
Yeah, and that seems to be one of the stories too. Is like anything that can go wrong will with this club at the most inopportune time. But yeah, they should close it out. Maybe it's a confidence thing. It's a scoring thing. The offense for this group has been up and down, it seems, all year. Power play, same, good at times. I think lately they've been terrific, but 5-on-5 scoring, can you get it? Do you have the killer instinct? And they're still just trying to find some of those things, but we touched on this a couple weeks ago. They're running out of time, and you look at the playoff situation now, and it's looking a little more dire after dropping the last 2 at home.
Yeah, and what is that mentally? So these guys got 10 days off, maybe because of Sweden, I don't know, but they definitely have a longer break. They don't play again till the 7th against Chicago. So, God, the difference between winning that Anaheim game and losing it, right? I mean, even every day you're out, somebody's throwing a football on the beach, hey, Duhaime, go long, And if you win, I think you're just feeling like $1 million for 10 days, just kind of like an alligator recharging. And but that one gets away, and you're kind of, God, it's got to feel like something's biting your ankles the whole time you're down on that trip.
Right. And, we should note that Duhaime's the guest on today's podcast. Great interview. We recorded it a little earlier, and he is going to be on the beach. Who knows if there will be a football there, but you're gonna want to listen because there may be a couple of things. Well, he might be in witness protection while on.
Yeah,
trip.
he's playing with fire in this prank deal with Flower, and I just don't know. To me, that's like going to Alaska and trying to find a grizzly to like flick, like just go up behind him and flick and run away. Like that's not a good plan, man.
Right. So we've teased it. The Fleury Duhaime prank saga is not over, and he gives us a little inside scoop on some of that stuff. So that'll be at the end of the show here. But I think that sometimes what teams can fall into is a certain trap coming up when leading into an all-star break or a bye week. It's that you get your eye on the trip and you take your foot off the gas pedal, get it in vacation mode a little too early. I don't think that happened in the Anaheim game. I don't, which to me illustrates, too, that everybody understands how important these points are. There was just something else missing there, and whether it was finish or – and at the end, what were the shots? It was like almost 2-1. It was 40-something to 24 in favor of the Wild. It's just unfortunate, but you're right. If they win that game, it's the recharge starts the moment that buzzer goes off.
Because Nashville ran into Edmonton right after leaving town, so I mean it's like scoreboard watching. I mean that's pretty crazy. What are we, 50 games into the season? I mean I'm chunking the season into little 3-game sections. I'm paying attention to other Western Conference teams because we've just got this small chance
and
to get in.
That's what starts to happen, though, when you're no longer in control of your own destiny.
Oh, man.
You start to watch everybody else and hope that you could see them fall a little bit.
Like St. Louis won, damn it. I'm like, yeah, it's stressful.
But it's a good thing the break is an extended one. I don't think they play again until February 5th, so a lot of times it can just be a 3-4 day break, and if you really want your battery recharged, it's nice to win that final game. You get to have some fun, relax, get away from it for a bit, and you come back, jump right into it, and then it's off to the races. But now they can probably heal internally after the Anaheim game and drop in the Nashville game, and then get on their trip and try to recharge the batteries. So I suppose that's good news. Let's transition to Hockey Day. Boy, did Warroad put on a show, and it felt really welcoming in like this one, and Gigi Marvin's parents were so great. Like I'm walking in Saturday morning, first thing they stop me, and they just were greeting me and people. They're, hey, welcome to Warroad. Thank you for coming. Hey, you're Ryan. You know Gigi? Yeah, of course I know Gigi. And they everybody to a T was just so nice and happy to show off the city of Warroad, Hockeytown USA, and then the local organizing committee did a great job putting on a terrific event. The games were good. The setup was terrific. Everything about it was nice. You were up there earlier in the week, weren't you, Kinger?
I did. We should compare notes. So I drove up there, 06 Highlander. Got some Casey. I stopped at Casey's to eat, the general store. Great food.
Pizza?
No free ads. Yep, I called ahead. Is that similar to how you got up there?
Yeah, you called ahead for pizza.
I did. I added a stop, called 20 minutes ahead.
Can you throw another one under that red lamp, please?
I said extra crispy. It was an automated bot, and actually it did an excellent job, I have to say.
But to the point that you're trying to make, the experience was different than I've had at any other hockey day, and again is because it's community based, and Marvin Windows and the Marvin family does so much for Warroad, for the youth hockey program, and they have flights that they donated, seats on flights to get us up there and back. So Friday morning, jump on a Marvin flight, and 65 minutes later, boom, you're in Warroad.
That's great.
And you're greeted with nice people, bringing you in, dropping you off, asking if they can help you. And then Sunday morning, same thing. Like, get up and go.
It's a great day, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I want to ask you some questions just because I took it all in. I watched. I mainlined the hockey holiday. There's so much just delicious propaganda, and even every ad is like, Minnesota hockey. It's just awesome. I just devoured it. I overserved myself on Hockey Day. What's it like for you? So you're an analyst. Now you're dropping in, you're parachuting into these like high school games. It seemed like you did a little John Gruden, like you get to talk to maybe the coaches a couple days before and get a little intel because you were saying smart stuff about people. But like, what's your day like? It's long, right? And you don't know as much about the teams, but you've done your research. Like, what's it like just working it? I'm just curious.
Yeah, it is kind of fun. It is challenging because you're trying to learn on the fly and consume some of this energy or information. Yeah, but we do get a chance to talk to the coaches about a week before, get the scoop on their team, some of the guys, what it's like, how things are going, some baseline information. Then they all practiced on Friday, so we got in Friday, and that was kind of nice. I was able to watch the practices and see how things work. You figure some guys out and what they're good at and their abilities. And again, you just talk to more people. And the hockey world's a small one, so you end up knowing somebody on each team, and you get a couple of notes, some tidbits, some information. And then Saturday game day rolls around, and it's kind of like put on your game face. It's somewhat of a blitz. Like you go up there and you prepare yourself for these games, and then they start, and it's off to the races. And got to give a lot of credit to Sam, the crew in the truck, and Gorgie and everybody else for making it easy. But then you sit there and you call these games, and I think at times like for me, I forget like calling NHL games that these are professionals, grown men, and then you're watching these high school games, and they're 15, 16, 17 years old. It's a lot different, but at the same time, the game looks a lot like it does at the NHL level. Like these kids are good now.
Yeah, they're really solid. And the whole thing was like emotional. Like you guys were showing like slow-mos of guys from Valleys like walking to the truck and like waving at the. It was like if you watch all of Hockey Day, you could just be in your house just sobbing if you love Minnesota hockey. I mean, and it was the weather was awesome. When I was up there on Thursday, Friday, you couldn't have had better weather, and it was almost like like you said, the fog and the lights and Roseau Warroad. I mean, it was a filet mignon for Hockey Day, Minnesota.
Yeah, you can't. If you were being picky and you just wanted one thing to be better about the weather, I think it'd maybe be a little cloud cover for the afternoon game. Other than that, everything was perfect. But there were in that middle game, Wayzata Moorhead, the sun was at an angle and it was bright, but I don't think it affected the game or the play at all. There was one play I saw where a defenseman went to go catch a puck that was flipped up into the air, and it likely got caught in the sun, and he couldn't find it, and it dropped behind him. But it didn't result in a breakaway or a 2-on-1 or anything dangerous. But that was the only play I saw where maybe the sun affected things. So it wasn't horrendous, but I've played in a game like that. We were at Yankee Stadium playing the Rangers. I was with the Devils afternoon game, and Lundqvist kind of just said, we're not playing. I can't see.
And they actually delayed it, right?
Yeah, they delayed it like 90 minutes. We're sitting there with our skates tied for 90 minutes in the locker room, trying to figure out when we're going to start this game, but it was all dependent on when the sun would go behind the stadium walls so that he could play and see. But
that doesn't work for every goalie, I don't think. That's a Hank.
Right.
That's a Hank.
That's a Hank in New York.
In New York, like, hey, it would be the dinner reservation I have isn't until 9, and there's going to be like an awkward gap if we could push it a couple hours. That'd be great. Hey, couple things. Are the Warroad jerseys from Hockey Day the best we've ever seen at Hockey Day? I mean, with that inside tribute
to Warroad's jerseys, and you mean on the shoulders and everything else?
Yeah, and they had the inside. They had like a mural.
Oh yeah,
on the inside of the back, and it was. I mean, those were unreal. You got a kid named Carson Pilgrim. I mean, maybe one of the coolest hockey names ever. It was just, I just think it was one of the best ones. And I was shocked, 1,800 people. I mean, I hadn't been to Warroad before because my kids never played there. It's not a big town, and
No.
it is a small town, like to the point where, on your Google Maps or whatever, you could just push the walk button. I mean, you can drive, But you could walk anywhere you needed to walk to, whether it was the high school or the hockey day rink. Everything was kind of close.
I actually saw a bunch of people walking.
I think you could.
then-
I think you could if you put the walk guy on instead of the drive. I think it was just the same time.
So and people drive like their Rangers or their snowmobiles around. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's a little more convenient too. I was riding around in a Ranger, being shown the rinks and different things, and we would see people walking, and we'd stop and say, "Hey, you want to lift?" "No, we're good. We're walking." They do just walk from spot to spot, and when the weather's nice like that, why not? But yeah, it is a small town, and then you start to factor in like it's amazing the players that they
The output.
produce with such a small community.
Yeah, like their hockey GDP from how small they are, it's just unbelievable. That's what was weird when I got there. I think I was expecting like an Eden Prairie of the North or something, and I get there and it's just like there's like 2 hotels, a sports bar called Izzy's, 3 sheets of ice, and a stoplight. And I was like, oh, come again? Where do you make the players? And the funniest is every kid I interviewed, I would go, why is Warroad so good at hockey? Why are you guys so good? You're a small town. And they all just go, we skate a lot.
Yeah.
And I just started laughing. I'm like, oh, you skate a lot. I got it. Okay.
So there's a couple things there.
I mean, and that river thing that they skate on.
Yeah.
It's a joke.
There's a couple things there that we should touch on. So I think that Roseau, Warroad together have produced somewhere in the neighborhood of 140-something Division I skaters at the boys program, 20 NHLers, and a couple of them were up there this last weekend too. It was Dave Christian, Neil Broughton, and on the flight up, we were talking a little bit, and they get to telling stories. And when Dave Christian would play Roseau, he said that we'd go there, we'd play them, you'd have the varsity game, and then in their game gear, they'd just go right over to the North Rink and continue playing. It was just like a way of life. They just played hockey. And I asked them both, like they're both fishing towns. I said, you guys grew up ice fishing? Because I love ice fishing. They're like, no, we didn't. We would fish from time to time, but it was hockey season. We spent our time skating.
Like, what are you talking? You're going to sit on a bucket?
Yeah, we skated.
You're going to sit on a bucket?
We skated. They just played.
Make the red light go on, buddy.
And then Warroad, you go to the rink. They have the great rink. It looks terrific. They host tournaments. Everything about it is awesome. And then on the other side, they kind of have like an old school, like it's wood walls, just a rink. And that's the one where it's open ice. It's just come and skate.
Come early, stay late, skate every day.
Right. And that ice sheet is just open more often than not. And if you're a player and you want an hour of ice, coaches will just say, yeah, hop on with us. That's fine.
Well, I asked them, I said, so you can skate at 1 in the morning? And they're like, yeah. They said sometimes the maintenance thing wouldn't be open, so you got to factor that in. And then you're absolutely right. So if you have a kid, say they're a squirt or a peewee, you've got a U10 girl. If she wanted to skate with the U12s, she can. Mm-hmm. The U12s can skate with the U10s. You can go one level. You can double your ice time.
Right.
And, I mean, I just love, we skate a lot.
Another thing that's awesome, so what you're talking about is the river. So during coronavirus, when in Warroad they couldn't gather in homes,
It's so funny how that happened.
Yeah, they like scraped the river.
So that they could get from one house to another house using the river to skate.
Yeah, and just stop on the dock and say hello to everybody.
That's right. And then maybe eventually hockey games or whatever ends up being 2 miles now of connected docks?
It was 5 or 7 miles, but now it's like a 2-mile track, 2.5-mile track.
Come on.
So it's about the width of a Zamboni, or maybe 2 passes of the Zamboni, and it's flat, pure like that, and it just follows the winding river. And I think there's a spot that you can get on, and similarly, it doesn't close.
Yeah, you can get on there's like a bar.
The Yellow House?
Yeah, there's 2. I heard 2 references to hot spots to get on, and it's so.
And there's no time. So if you want to skate at midnight, you can just call whomever's at the Yellow House and go ahead, go down there, get your skates on. You need a pair of skates, rental, I don't know, whatever it is, just go skate. So it's like when it comes to skating, the city never shuts
Well,
down.
you know what's so funny about your story with the ice fishing guys? So every kid I would interview, I would ask them about this river thing you can skate on, and I would be like, so do you guys like pack little snacks, a bag of Sun Chips and a sandwich, and you get on there and you go out, and then everyone would just look at me like, what's with the what do you mean what's with the food? Why is this a picnic? We're skating.
Yeah.
I mean, it would just be like, he's eating. Why he needs to eat? I don't know. But yeah, they're just like, they're like hockey. Come early, stay late, skate every day. But it was awesome.
We also have to touch on Rube.
Stud. Both got to meet him. 94.
94 turning 95 soon, I think.
And I can't remember between who I interviewed. Was he an Olympian?
52.
52. 2 Olympics maybe? Or just one, I don't know. But the guy looks like $1 million. I mean, he might be part nanny how good he looks at his age. He's 94.
So he doesn't miss a practice, doesn't miss a game. Like, we could go on and on. I'm going to tell a couple stories, but you tell yours.
Well, mine is, I said to him, they're like, everyone that introduces you to him is like, he's 94. They kind of like, look, he's 94. And I said, man, how do you do it? Do you not drink? How do you live your life? You eat right? And he just goes, golf. That's all he said to me. Golf. And I go, they're like, ask him what his best round was last year. And he shot like in the 80s, low 80s. He's 94 years old. So, yeah, stud and great jacket on Hockey Day.
That's where I was going to go with that.
Great with the details, with the sly stripes. I mean, come on.
So that jacket was apparently like Olympic issue 52. Hasn't been out of the plastic until Hockey Day.
That's like Boys in the Boat.
That was the first time that jacket's been out of the plastic.
And it looks better than anything today.
And that's how important Hockey Day is to that community. That's an Olympic jacket, never been worn. Rube 94 has saved it in the plastic every day. He's dropping the ceremonial puck for this game, and he busts out that jacket. And boy, was that the right move. That jacket was unbelievable.
Well, and then they went on to win the game.
Well, how can you not? Rube's 94, no spikes on those skates. He walks out there on fresh ice, or on his shoes. Fresh ice, slippery, no big deal. Confident as all get out. I think he grew up playing in Roseau, but coached in Warroad, and then he coached all over, like college hockey. Like, I think he's kind of like a career hockey coaching kind of guy, and now he's settled in Warroad.
He's a legend for sure.
Absolute legend. There's more stories too. Like, high school coach was missing a practice, and Rube was there, and one of the dads was like, "Hey, you've got to come down." And I'm probably botching some of the details. We've got to run a practice. Coach can't make it today. And Rube just takes his hat off, goes, boom, pulls out a practice plan. So in his little fedora, he just has these practice plans, executes practice from the bench.
It's like a Peaky Blinder.
This guy's unbelievable.
Oh my God.
So it's so great. That was awesome.
Yeah, he's cool. I'll give you a good Warroad story. So being a city slicker, rolling into this town, no idea it was that small and so big in the hockey world. So here's just a couple exchanges. Can-Am Inn is where I'm staying. Got the coffee maker in there. No creamer. Head over to the front desk. Hey, where would I get some coffee creamer? No. We drink our coffee black, sir. I go, okay, good. What's the Wi-Fi password? It's Warroad 1 with the number 1. So anybody from out of town, just so you have to type that in. So then I go back to my room. I'm kind of shaking off. Like, you know what? I should drink my coffee black. That's a better way to drink it. That's cool. Like, these people are pretty badass. And I run back down there. Hey, you guys got a fitness center? I should have called it a gym. That would have been more manly, but I did call it a fitness. She's just, nope. Hey, I'm good. I'm just gonna head back on into room 106 down here. And then I think this is a Warroad hat trick. I did cap it off at Izzy's. I asked if they had gluten-free bread. They do not. I got a chicken strips basket. So I think that's like that's a Metro hat trick in Warroad. I was like, hey, dude. Okay, yeah, I'll just do the chicken strip basket. Thanks.
So what hotel did you stay at?
Can-Am Inn.
Oh, yeah.
And this was another cool thing. So not only Warroad 1 Wi-Fi password. I don't know if I should be sharing that with everyone. I guess
You'd have to be at the Can-Am
free.
to hijack.
Everyone's getting free internet in Warroad. But I opened up the drawer, and it was the Bible, and then just a book about hockey in there. I'm like, it's like a Coen Brothers movie of hockey. I mean, it's unbelievable up there.
There's a new hotel too in town.
The Hampton Inn, is that the
and
new
some
one?
hockey guys got together.
I thought you were there, maybe.
No, but there was they made this hotel specifically for hockey players and hockey tournaments. There's like a shooting lane that you would see at youth programs or at training facilities in the hotel. Like great pool, shooting center. Like you don't have to check your hockey stick or your bag at the door. Like go ahead and bring it with. They created a space for you to use it. You don't have to go hide and play mini hockey in the halls. It's there for you. It's everything about it. I'll tell one last story. Well,
That's cool.
There's a couple more
didn't-
things.
That's the biggest hotel that I could see.
Before we wrap on Hockey Day, Dominic Anthony trying the Michigan. Oh my goodness, would that have been unbelievable had he hit that?
So I have a,
And he did. He pulled it off. It's the scoop. It was everything. Just the goaltender he was ready for it.
how common is that move going to be in the future?
Well, it's amazing how fast it was adopted. It's like the second wave. So it was pulled off when in the early 2000s, late
Mike
90s.
Legg was like
Yeah,
the 90s. It would have been like 96.
Yeah. And then it just was like, oh, a cool move. That was cool that somebody tried that for 20 years. And then Zegras tries it a couple years ago, and every kid has just adopted it and picked up the skill like what seems like overnight. And I was at the Hippodrome in White Bear last night talking to two young boys, and they're like, yeah, there's been 6 in the NHL. Most in the day is 2. Like Dominic Anthony almost scored it, one on Hockey Day. Like, they are on this.
That's
the
like
kids are on
that's like
this
breaking
move.
the sound barrier
Yeah,
for them.
and that was like a 12-year-old. Like, they are like, they want to pull this off. And Dominic Anthony's, they had player surveys. In his player survey, greatest hockey goal of all time was pulling off the Michigan in Bantams, which must have been last year for him. He's just a
Yeah,
sophomore.
just looking back.
So it's going to be like
A Brown
play now.
a woman's player from Brown must
Just
have
scored it
done
off.
it yesterday.
Yeah.
It was an amazing one.
That was another one. Super.
That came across my feed, but yeah, I think it's going to be just like
It's here to stay.
an alley-oop in the NBA in
Yeah.
about 10 years.
It's here
gonna
to
be
stay.
a common. And goalies are going to have ways to defend it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to be like, did he actually make a save on
I
it?
think he made a save.
I think that's the first time I've ever. That should get more attention. That's like the first time a goalie actually knew there was a Michigan happening.
Goalies
and
know it's
stopped
coming
it.
now.
But
They don't
really just sit there, right?
They don't want to be posterized and be like, "Oh, I'm the goaltender that the Michigan got scored on." But yeah, so the Wild game, they lose. That stinks. But that's the beginning of my terrorism. I ended up going up to my hotel room. I need my key to work one more time on this trip. I'm going to be responsible.
You're at the casino.
Yeah, I'm going to go to bed early. I'm not going to lose all my money. It's like 11:30. I go, and the door handle is just dead.
Well, because you're supposed to go gamble.
Nothing. Dead. So I go down to the front desk.
Hard to
I
make
tell him, "Hey,
make the right decision twice.
I'm kind of concerned here. My key I didn't get a green light. I didn't get a red light. Like, there was nothing. He goes, "Oh, here you go, sir." Just like remagnetizes my key. I go back up. I try it. Nothing. It's dead to the world.
Oh, at that point, you're straight to the craps table.
Should have been, but there's no craps in Minnesota. Otherwise, maybe I would have.
Straight to the.
Back downstairs, he's like, uh-oh. So then he comes up with me, and he's like, there's something wrong with your door. We got to try to change the batteries. So we change the batteries in the door. That doesn't work. He's like, I got to call some super special security guy. You hang tight. I hang there for 30 minutes. He ended up having
This is terrible.
He ended up having a shift change. He was gone.
Why is this a we need to change the batteries? Why isn't it I get a different room? You get roped into
I
this.
needed my stuff out of that room.
Oh, you
I have
couldn't
a
even-
flight first thing in the morning, so I have to get my stuff.
And you've
out
just
of that
been
room.
working for like 14 hours in a row or something?
Yeah. So I'm locked out. Key's dead. Change the batteries. That doesn't work. He has a shift change. I sit there for 20 minutes. I've got to go back down to the front desk. I start the whole process over again because this person has no clue what's going on.
You're getting your steps.
So then back up, change the batteries for a second time in the door because the first person didn't think that it was done appropriately or done right, which
I like it.
I don't mind that. So let's be thorough. We change the batteries in the door. Still dead, nothing. Now they're like, well, we might have to get the Sawzall out and cut the handle off this door. And everybody's walking past them with the security guard. Everybody thinks that I've robbed the casino. Everybody in there is nervous. Like, Carts, what'd you do? Like, are you getting escorted out of here? Like, what's your
That would have been
beef?
awesome.
Long story short, I sat there until 3 in the morning. until I could get in my room. They had to call somebody in, which I'm so thankful. They call a manager in. She's sleeping at 1:30 in the morning. She comes over, drives in, finds this programmer, learns on the fly how to program the door, change the batteries, boom, 3 a.m. in the door. So I
How many hours were you out there?
like 3 hours sitting outside my door trying to get in.
You know, I have some
And to everybody else on the 4th floor, I am sorry. We were so loud trying to get this door open.
I have some experience with stuck hotel doors and
Shout out to Tammy at the hotel.
Yeah, baby.
you could have gone maybe up through the roof.
I was like thinking of different ways.
Or
Like,
they
can we
do
go
the
through
cool
window?
cutting thing like they do in like robbery movies.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
and then you're like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a door. I mean, you know.
I was tempted to just leave all my stuff or stay in Warroad. Part of me, I was getting deliriously tired where I was like, I think I might just stay in Warroad. I could just live here. No.
I think that door experience for you leaving Hockey Day is a lot like that Anaheim game for the Wild.
Yeah, that's what I see. That's it.
I mean, it's almost like the exact, like when I was watching the Anaheim game, I think it was a lot like replacing the batteries a couple times up and down the stairs. It doesn't work. Not a green light, not a red light, nothing. I can't get what I want. It all sounds very similar.
It was such a great day, and I went into the third period with a lead, and then I ended up losing it in the final frame.
Great weather, and then Troy Terry is just like jacked up your
Troy
lock.
Terryism. Gosh, that stinks.
Yeah, he's a Terryist. You should have had somebody maybe construct if you would have had somebody come and do a little bit of work on that door to have it built the right way from the start.
Yeah, if we were going to kick that door down, somebody would have to repair it, and if I was going to hire somebody to make sure they did it right, it would be our friends at Wild Construction. Again, they specialize in roofs, exterior stuff. Roofing season is beyond us, but take a look outside as some of the snow melts and colder temperatures potentially roll in. If you see ice dams and gutter issues, it's an indication that the insulation in your ceiling, your roof, your home isn't up to par, and you want any of that stuff fixed, they can help you out. You can also go on technology in their doors, or I should say within their home, won't fail. They've got a great website, resources. You can check and see if you were within a storm's radius, if you potentially had hail, have them out there. wildconstructionmn.com. They'll make it happen. Check them out.
Well done. As I was watching mainlining Hockey Day and all of the content you created, including the wonderful trip to the nursing home, I like to eat healthy snacks. And so what I do is it's kind of dip season right now, Carts. Even yesterday with the football, a couple good games. Jimmy's vegetable dips are made with real grade A sour cream. I didn't even know there were different grades of sour cream, but it's an A with quotes. And they've got maximum flavor and freshness, onions, garlic, parsley, all peeled and cut in-house by hand. I think that there's hairnets involved. They got a dill dip. They got original ranch dip, smoky ranch dip, spinach dip, and fruit dip. So if you're looking to eat healthy, check out Jimmy's vegetable dips. You can get them at Cub, but also at Quick Trip and Holiday. They do kind of quick takeaway versions. Check that out. Jimmy's salad dressings and dips. Don't ya be messing with my dressing.
Nice. Let's get back on to the Wild. So
we got your cool game from your family. Are we gonna do that? No, I like.
So we're gonna set this up. Yeah, at the Carter dinner table. Shout out to Stephen Ranella. I think I heard this from him first.
This is your folks.
No, Stephen Ranella is the meat eater guy. So I watched the show, and one of theirs, like, they play this game called Best, Worst, Weirdest. It's not necessarily a game. It's just kind of like conversation starter. So at our dinner table, when we're eating, we go around to the kids and we ask them best, worst, weirdest. And it's the best part of their day, the worst part of their day, and the weirdest part of their day. And
it's genius, actually.
So we're going to play that Minnesota Wild best, worst, weirdest from the start of the season to the All-Star game. So, Kinger, why don't you kick us off with your best, worst, weirdest of the first 40-plus games?
And I can do in any order?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to do weirdest, because obviously I love that. Weirdest is how Brock Faber is a better NHL player than he was a college player and plays completely different in the pros than he did in college, and has just been unbelievable. Calder, pushing for Calder with Bedard putting his face back together. I mean, he's been awesome. Also, I get credit for it being weird because he's always on Instagram, like playing with the team dog, and I think it's just like winning the internet. You know how like cats used to drive the internet, like cat videos? I think Brock.
I didn't know that, but
It was a thing. Yeah, it was. You got to trust me on this. But cat videos used to run the internet. Now Brock Faber with puppy videos run the internet, so that's kind of weird. I just think it's really weird that this kid came in and is kind of acting like
that's
he's
weird.
21 years old and he's acting like the captain of our hockey club.
Yeah,
I mean, it's been
You could even
it's
say
weird.
It's weird how good and how mature he is. That in and of itself.
It's been weird in a good way. Thank you, Fabes, but like I don't know that I could classify it as best or worst. It's just too odd. I would have never guessed. Like he's going to run the power play and just I don't know. He's just been a true leader.
All right, are you going to keep going, or you want?
No, let's go to you.
Okay.
We're passing around. It's like a lazy Susan. Here, it's coming over to you now at the dinner table.
At the dinner table, we usually just let each kid rip right through them, but we can pass the weirdest around. So I'll go weirdest as well. And for me, it's that this team went and played 2 games in Sweden this year with a different coach. Like it seemed like a different season.
Yeah, it's like 10 years ago.
It does seem like nearly a decade ago that it was, hey, let's load up this plane, let's go over, played in Sweden. Like it's been
Are you sure that was this season?
such like a long, in some ways stressful year for this group that seems like it was so long ago. So for me, the weirdest part was that, hey, part of this year's story was how great that trip to Sweden was, and it's kind of gotten lost in the shuffle with some of these other things and the play and everything else. But for me, that's probably the weirdest part is like you still got to pinch yourself. Like, was that real? Like that seemed like a flash in the pan, but yeah, it was real.
Yeah, the whole like 10 seasons in one is definitely weird. For my best, I got to give it to Eck. I don't think we talk about him as much as we probably should on the podcast. I think he has 21 goals. They're all by the snot bubble.
I used that one in the Hockey Day broadcast, by the way.
Did ya?
Credit to you, Snot Bubble.
Nice. I heard grease pan somebody said on some other broadcast, which snot bubble's way better. Thank you. But he's just been awesome. He's a leader. He's consistent. You can rely on him. He's a prick to play against. People hate playing against him. I got a photo sent to me. The guy said this picture should be on Eriksson X gravestone someday when he passes, and it was his goal against Carolina. There's like 6 players on him, like in the crease, and he still scored the goal. It must have been 5 players, but yeah, he's been, I think, the best. He's just been great. I think maybe he's wearing a letter now with Spurgeon out. I haven't been paying attention to that, but
the letter's been circulating.
He's certainly been acting.
That's how
like
beat up the Wild have been. Like I think there's been like 6 guys that have worn a letter.
Yeah, but he's been.
So it's been
consistent.
I think Bogosian, Maroon has, Zuccarello has, Kaprizov has, Spurgeon has, Foligno has. That's 6, and I could be missing 1 or 2. Maybe Goligoski. I know he has in the past, but yeah,
Brodin must have wore it.
There's been a lot of letters.
Yeah, he's been. That's a lot of goals, by the way.
21.
That's a lot of goals. I mean,
past the
Austin
halfway
Matthews has what? He's leading the league with 40 something. But
it's also amazing.
That's a ton of goals for a guy that is not thought of that way necessarily.
Yeah, and I think if you factor in the other roles that he plays, so think about the elite goal scorers. Like Pasta in 21 doesn't make you elite. I understand that. I mean, guys are up near 40, double that right now. But X playing penalty kill, like your top penalty kill guy. He's your top face-off guy.
He's covering the best player on the other team every time.
Mm-hmm. But all of a sudden, with these 21 goals and the power play and the way that he's been able to carve out this role, that is a very Selke-like role with Selke-like numbers. The one he's been defensively great for years. The one thing that's probably kept him off the podium when it comes to the Selke Trophy is the offensive production. How do you compete with Kopitar, Bergeron, Ryan O'Reilly? Because those guys put up 60, 80 points a year, and they're shutting down the other team's best. The only thing Eck was missing is the offense. He's getting that now. 21 goals through 46 or 47 games. Like, he's there. You know, he's there. Now, for me, he's almost a lock on the podium, and we'll see how the season finishes. But, yeah, absolutely, for a dude that has the potential to win a Selke Trophy on a team that's struggling, I do think that's a good target for your best.
Who's your best?
Well, my best is more probably a couple of weeks. And I think the best storyline, and for me, the brightest spot of the season has been Marc-Andre Fleury and his stretch from not getting that game in Pitt to flipping the switch personally, professionally, whatever you want to call it. And I don't know that he flipped the switch, but he showed he's a pro. Goes to that Boston game, and he went on a race. I don't think the Wild are in the conversation for playoffs or anywhere near it if he doesn't do what he did in that Boston game. That was
awesome,
a polarizing effort, and I think the guys jumped on board and rode it for a while, and that kicked off some of the Hines success in his first, whatever it was, 14, 17 games. And then just the way he's carried himself on the march to 552. Like, they struggled, and he was hung up on 551 for a while. And just overall, that storyline for me in the way that he's played, it's kind of solidified all of the great things everybody says about Marc-Andre Fleury. Sometimes you don't believe it till you see it, and I think we've seen it. You know, and that for me, that's been the best part of the season.
Yeah, he's an absolute legend, and he might be able to play a lot longer too. I don't know when he's going to stop because he's doing a great job now. For worst is always hard, right? I use a symbol for this. So when the wave happens at a hockey game, it happens because the right stuff isn't happening. Right? There's a little bit too much space, a little bit too much air. People start getting horrible ideas, and somebody's like, let's do the wave. So I just put for worst for me. You kind of talked about it when we were speaking earlier. You know, this is a team that seems to be reacting to things, waiting for things to happen. It feels like every chunk of the season has been these 3-game stretches where we're kind of holding our breath or holding onto the ledge, trying to get through them. And I don't feel like we've ever dictated. Mm-hmm. You know, we've never been the team saying, this is who we are. Loud and clear, this is who we are. And, you know, my symbol of that is when fans start doing the wave, it's because they don't know. You haven't put anything on the table, so they're like getting bad ideas. And I don't know that we've really had a stretch of hockey where they've said, this is our identity, let's roll. Maybe a little bit when Hines got hired, but that was almost transitional, right? It was about lines and tracks and playing fast. And but, yeah, I'm still kind of searching for it.
Yeah. I think we can get into that a little bit more. I'll throw my worst out there because I think the wave is a good symbol because it's kind of been the story of the Wild season. It's up and down, up and down. Like, you're caught in the wave pool and you're getting to the top of the wave, then it buries you, and then you get to the top and then it buries you.
Just enough to keep you alive.
Yeah, but for me the worst part has been no Spurgeon. So you start the year without him, and you get behind the 8 ball. I think everything is different if he just starts the year healthy. He got hurt in the exhibition game, and then they've been chasing it ever since. And then he comes back. He tries to play for a while. He's not 100%, and it's still an improvement. It's still good. Like, there's hope, and it's good. But boom, hit out again. And it's just been the lack of time with your captain, your best defenseman, the guy you rely on for so much. And you talk about, and this is a good one to curtail from what your point was, an identity. Without your leader, sometimes it's hard to have the identity reinforced. And what are the Wild? So let's break this down for a second. What are they? They're the 7th Street Savages. They're still the same. It's the same core. It's a team that is grit first, right? And are they that? Like, you look at some of the fights recently. Are they the aggressor? Or are they the reactor?
They're the reactor.
They're reacting to a play on the ice. They're reacting to
Bogosian defending Kirill.
Yes.
Duhaime defending Fleury.
Right. They aren't having to defend their actions.
They're not dictating.
And that's just the easiest way to illustrate verbally the difference between being proactive and reactive. And I think the Wild know their identity, and at times they just haven't played towards it. And some of that might be because they've missed such a key piece to it, and that's Jared Spurgeon. And nobody's going to accuse Spurgeon of being a 7th Street Savage. That's not his style. But still, it's a voice, and one that everybody trusts with experience to say, this is what we have to do, this is what we have to be. And I think at times the Wild have been lacking their identity or playing towards it. And I think they could be assertive in being grit first. And again, without Spurgeon, without a great start, they've had to find minor details in their game that they've had to fix. And sometimes those have been a distraction to the bigger picture, which has been, this is our identity. We're forecheck first, we're grit first, we're this, we're that. And once we're all of those things, then we can work on playing fast. Then we can find our skill. Then we can do these things. And it's easy to do. And I'm not being critical of any one person. It's more just you look at the first part of the season up until the All-Star break, and that's kind of what it's been. You've seen spurts of identifiable hockey and then chunks without it. And it's a lack of consistency, but I don't find it a coincidence that there's been a lack of consistency in availability from their leader, their captain. So for my worst, it's Jared Spurgeon.
Yeah, no, I'm holding on to the fact that I think we're too good to be this bad. You know, that's kind of the sentence in my head. And I think that I do think there's some pretenders hanging up in the standings a little bit that might come down to earth. It's just a question of if there's enough calendar left. You know, how do you? I really wish we would have got that Anaheim game before the break just to have a different taste in your mouth, because now I got this kind of nervous. It's like I've touched the stove and it was hot, and now I'm kind of, I got to wind myself back up again, but it gets, harder and harder. I think to picture being a buyer or a seller at the deadline.
I don't think we're alone in thinking that the Wild are better than what they've played, because I think you hear it in comments and throughout the fans that, hey, like, excuse me, embrace it right now. Like, this is a good team that's had a bad way. Just, like, maybe the right play is to not chase this playoff spot and have a 15th pick in the draft. Like embrace it, let the young kids play or whatever that might be, get a higher draft pick, because next year they'll be able to play to their potential. And it's by no means.
They've definitely had adversity, certainly.
It's by no means a lost season, and there's still time for them to climb out of it. But I think your point on just the sentiment is true, that this team is better than what their record shows. And now the hope is maybe that this final reset that they're going to be able to have in the calendar, this all-star break where they can get away from it and then come back. If they can go on a run, and they're not the Edmonton Oilers, but the Edmonton Oilers have ripped off 16 straight.
And the Edmonton Oilers weren't the Edmonton Oilers when that started either. I mean, you wouldn't have guessed that they were going to snap off 16 straight.
They're also not the Seattle Kraken. They're better than Seattle. And
Seattle
ripped
they've
off
been
10
on a
in
heater
row.
too.
They've ripped off 10 in a row. So it is possible, and the talent is in there. And I think everybody sees it, that the group is better than what their record shows right now. And but yeah, it's a final 35-ish games. It's a sprint now. It's a sprint. We'll see what kind of shape they're in.
Well, I hope they get recharged, the week off, the time off. I think you're right. Even we've probably been chasing it since Sweden, and I hope the boys get a second to just catch their breath, refocus, and hopefully make a run here.
Before we throw this to the Duhaime interview, we're going to tease it again. If they go on a trip, you'll find out where. But I think it'd be wise for them to make sure that they stay hydrated going into this. The sun can take it out of you. maybe a pina colada will take it out of you a little bit. So I think that they're going to want to make sure that they've got some good quality water, and they can find that with Aquarius Home Services. I've got the Connecticut K5 system at my house. It's clear, it's crisp, it's good, refreshing. So you can get one of those, little tap right at your countertop. And heck, if you need a whole home water softener system, that's terrific too. The soap lathers up. You don't need much for your hair. You get good glossy hair with quality water. You don't have to wash your dishes 3-4 times, or after they get out of the dishwasher. Wow, you don't have to scrub the soft
This
spot.
sounds great.
That's off of. Yeah. So, if you've got any water problems, Aquarius Home Services solve them. That's what they do. Check them out, AquariusHomeservices.com.
Well done.
Yeah, man. What else we got from you, my man? Let me pass it over to you.
So I think if I was going to, go out and get some food or some fresh items, I would probably go to Cub. The reason why is that Cub is one of us. They sponsor this podcast. They were on the Homer Hankies for the Twins. I don't know if you know that. They're also on PJ Flex headset. They're, if you want, whether you're going over there for food or drink, you might want to get some pale ales or some THC sodas. If you want delivery, Cub.com has you sorted. Visit Cub to get the freshest products, including milk. They're one of us. They're local. We love them. Cub.
Nice work.
I don't know if that's the one I was supposed to do, but
I think it was, man.
I think so.
You nailed it.
Well, should we listen to Duhaime?
Let's get it. Hey, the Duhaime will end it, so we appreciate you all for listening. We're going to have a little break ourselves. We'll be back in a week or so.
Recharge, everybody.
Yeah, recharge.
Let's try to,
Let's find the faith. Let's get Kirk's chains back.
Turn the frown upside down.
Yeah, we're going to send it.
That 94-year-old, what's his name?
Rube.
Let's be like Rube. Find your jacket. Get it out of the plastic. Let's make a push.
All right, here we go.
We're here.
So let's hear.
Well, hey, we got a repeat performer here. Dewey number 1, also known as LD, Little Dew. Some people call him Dexter down in Florida if you get on the wrong side of his right hand. 6'2", 200-pound righty, Brandon Duhaime. Welcome back to the pod. Sponsored by Duke Cannon. If your hair is a weapon or you wish it was, if you want to look like this guy, go get some Duke Cannon products.
What an intro. I appreciate that.
That was good. I tried to do like a boxing kind of, you've been having some fun lately, so did my research. Although Little Dew, when you're number 1, seems like you've made some trade-offs there to keep everyone happy.
Yeah, I don't love the Little Dew. I think Moose.
He's turning into Big
Moose
Dew.
Moose kind of took off on that one. So
LD,
Little Dew. I think it goes hand in hand, but we'll blame Moose for that one.
Hey, you're coming off a nice little trip home for you. The team was down in Florida. A lot kind of has changed in just a couple of days post that. Can you give us a summary of it? Because I think Dewey, too, got a haircut, too. Did you send him to your barber?
So I think it started with Pat. Pat had the mullet, and then I kind of hopped on board, and I got the lesser version of a mullet. You can't really tell, but I guess I didn't get the full effect.
It's a softy mullet,
and then Dewar went in there, and he got it. He did the
He
thing.
went for
Yeah,
it.
It was impressive. He didn't tell anyone. He just showed up the next day. And
Just came back one day.
Yeah, it was funny.
it's changing the energy. That's a good thing.
He's vibing right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so I hear maybe there was some other stuff behind the scenes that occurred on the Florida trip in Tampa. Could you enlighten us on some of
The
that?
flower situation.
The flower situation.
Yeah. So we got to the hotel in Tampa, and Flowers he's last off the bus. He's like, if he's getting on the bus, he's waiting outside. So he's last minute, he's hopping on. So we get to the hotel in Tampa, and I know he's always in the back of the line, and they always have our room keys kind of set out on a table, and there was 2 room keys in his little pocket. So I took one of them, and I looked behind me, and he was kind of talking to whoever, and so I got on the elevator real quick, and I went right up to his room, and I hid in the bathroom, and Dewar hid in the closet, and we waited.
So the Deweys.
Yeah. We were coming for him, and we. So I'm waiting in the bathroom. He's waiting in the closet, and we're 3-4 minutes go by, nothing, and we're just sitting in there. And then he finally comes in, and he's doing his thing in the little bedroom area, and we're sitting there, and it's another 2-3 minutes goes by. I'm like, is this guy ever going to come in here? Like, he's got to take off his coat. He's got to open the closet. So we're thinking he's going to get Dewar first. Dewar's going to pop out of the closet, scare him. I'm going to come from behind and get him from the bathroom and scare him that way. But, yeah, he ended up coming to the bathroom first, and the lights were off. He turned those things on, and I came out of nowhere and scared him. And he
just to go.
I've never seen him so terrified. I thought he was going to cry. Like, he threw the hands up right away. Like, he was so flustered.
Okay, this was in Tampa?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's like afternoon.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that was the first game of the trip. So you guys landed whatever, like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. So it's not like middle of the night.
No. This was right when we got to the hotel, probably like 5 p.m.
Because there was another one like that. I think the podcast touched on it. Was it Dumba sitting in Felino's closet?
It was me. I was on the tail end. They came in my room. This was I think in Nashville a few years back, and there was probably 3 or 4 guys, and they all popped out at the same time, kind of same scenario, and they scared me. So that's why they got the idea.
So were you behind the door or like in the bathtub? What was your positioning?
I was it was like a sliding door, so I was kind of near the lights.
So you're like in the shower, sliding door to the bathroom.
Yeah, to the bathroom. So I'm waiting on towards the lights. So he kind of has to come in and turn towards the lights to kind of flip the switch. And I was right there, and it was dark, and I just kind of popped right out. And I had a video, but it's just like such a poor quality video. Like, you can't really see him because like immediately when I went to like put the camera in his face and scare him, he already had a hand in my face, like flustered. So
just fight or flight kicked in.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I've never seen him so terrified.
He wants an NHL fight, so maybe it's gonna be you in practice or you in the bathroom.
So just when he's coming down, then thinks he's just survived this thing, you got another one loaded.
Yeah.
So how did that play out?
Well, he was, I don't know, Flower was so flustered, like he couldn't even react that bad. So he kind of Dewar just crawled out and we ran. Like we sprinted out of there. Like we didn't know what was going to go down. And we took off pretty quick.
There is an element to pranking somebody that when it's complete, like you're scared a little bit too. Like it's,
Now I go in my hotel
like you
room, I'm just checking
want to
everything.
flee the scene.
So can we now? You're really playing with fire here. Like this is like a small country messing with a country with the nuclear option. Like why in the world would you get in a prank war with the heavyweight champion of pranks? Like, do you sleep? What's your stress level? How's your mental health? Like, this is really not like, if I were working with you, if I was close with you, I'd be like, hey, Dewey, maybe not Flower. Yeah. What? How are you doing? Are you sleeping with one eye open?
Mentally, I'm good. I'm thinking maybe after the Florida game, he gave me the helmet nicely and kind of.
That quote makes sense because he goes eye for an eye.
I'm hoping that squashes the any.
So was the hatchet buried then? Because
I'm hoping.
Was it Lockwood Lockwood the one that caught Fleury?
Yeah.
So eye for an eye, but there may be a subplot there. Eye for an eye.
I'm hoping it just washes the pranks, and then we're a clean slate now. So
there's no way you're a clean slate. There's no way. There's 1,000% Flower gets the last laugh. This guy is
I like that Duhaime's trying to slay a dragon though. Like he's
you
going
are
for the
going
big
for
guy.
it.
Yeah.
Aim for the bullseye.
Give us the cliff notes for people that aren't up to date on all of them. You've had like Mary Samsonite's boots on.
50-year-old, multiple
50-year-old Kane on the ice. Like what give us the whole season rundown on pranks. Well, and maybe it goes into last year too because you had the packing peanuts in your car. Like where did it begin?
I don't think he had anything to do with that one, but I guess it kind of started.
He did.
No, maybe he did. I don't know.
No, we don't know, but there's a difference in tactics. That's for sure. I think Fleury he mums the word, but.
Yeah. So I guess this year it kind of started with the 50-year-old comment with Gorgie on that TV interview, and then what was next?
Your shirt's off at some point.
Shirt. Yep. He took the dress shirt. Maybe that next game took the dress shirt and the coat. People thought I wore the coat to the game, but that wasn't my coat. I don't think that's not.
Whose
So
coat
like you
was
just
that?
didn't have a
We
shirt
had
and
no
coat
idea.
post game.
Yeah, there was nothing. So I think he went to a thrift shop, and that's where he bought the boots and the coat.
Little Macklemore playing in your stall.
Yeah, and then I think the boots were the next game where my
That was a nice
my
touch.
dress shoes were, in my dry stall like this, and I go to pick it up, and I couldn't move it. And there was just a 5-inch nail drilled in right to the bottom of the wood of the dry stall, so I couldn't get my shoes up. So that's when I had to wear the white boots. And then people thought that's the style I was wearing to the game. I'm getting tagged in like all these fashion Instagram pages.
You're getting invited to Fashion Week New York, walk the runway.
Crazy.
William Nylander's
Seen this guy without a
DMing
shirt
you.
on,
Yeah, and then
with fancy boots. Like, we love this guy.
PK Subban has like a segment on Instagram where he like looks at like the fashion, like all the guys' suits that they wear to the games, and I was like tagged #1 outfit of the week with like the shoes, and I don't think he knew that it was a prank. I think people just thought I was wearing those for style, so yeah, it was good.
Man, that's better than good.
And then after that, I don't know.
Now we're into
I had
key
no
cards.
socks,
and
like
scaring.
yeah.
I
my toes were
like how
cut.
it's escalated, though. You know, the good pranks just one up each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't go right for the jugular after, a small little prank. I like the story, the plot, everything, the arc here. It's working.
I do
I
like
think he's got something in the holster though.
Yeah, he's not done.
That's
That's why we're saying you're playing with fire.
Dewar Army crawling out of the room and just bailing because the reaction was so bad is pretty solid too. Like that went a little further than we thought.
Yeah.
Man, good luck to you. I think did you learn anything from a fashion standpoint, right? So, I mean, you had to wear your shirt off. You got the boots. Did you kind of feel like maybe there's some gears I could play here? Like I could try more stuff. I could be the William Nylander of the Wild.
Some people were loving it. Like the tags I was getting, people liked it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. So
Live free,
maybe
brother.
maybe I gotta change it up or
I
something.
think you should. I don't know. I think you found a whole different place to play.
I think we got to give this team as a whole a bunch of credit too for playing along with fans, with Gorgie. Kevin Gorg's in the Middleton shirt the other day. You're using some of your chirps and angling inside the locker room stuff through Gorgie interviews with the 50-year-olds. Man, that's so cool for the fans and for us as podcasters and people to follow along with. So appreciate you guys being involved and willing to do all that stuff and let us be a piece of it.
Did you have the 50-year-old holstered, or was that in the moment?
That just rolled off the tongue. Like
That's
You actually thought,
because I could tell you were laughing, right?
Yeah.
So you were.
Yeah,
it's one of those ones where it was just like meant to be like he's older, but then he took it literally, and then boom.
You went back a couple times just to make sure.
Well, I saw Gorgie dying laughing, so I was like, I got to double down.
Yeah, no, I'm all in.
So I was blaming Gorgie for a little bit, but he, no, it was good. And I'm always giving him a hard time, like in practices on being old. So like, I don't know, it's kind of just our chirps back and forth, and then I'm pretty sure we were like, that was like a second period interview, and I'm pretty sure we were down 1. And then third period, just like Flower had like a vintage, like he was sliding everywhere, like
most people would tear their grind,
everywhere, and then we end up winning the game too. So it was pretty cool.
He's an artiste. Mm-hmm. I'd like to talk a little bit about so you're down in Florida, hometown. Is your hometown closest to where the Panthers play, or more where Tampa is?
The Panthers play. I'm about like 5 minutes away from their practice facility, and then
Northland?
No, Parkland.
Parkland, I mean.
Parkland, yeah. And then about 15 minutes away from that game rink.
So this kid, he runs Flower, Lockwood. You answer the bell. Hockey Fight says 7.69 on the fight. One person voted that Lockwood won the fight, and 44 voted for you, 98%. I saw you give him a pat on the back afterwards. I mean, when you're in a scrap like that, where what's the code on that? Where you're kind of tapping him on the back, like, hope you're all right, buddy, or how does that work?
I don't know. That was a tough one. Just kind of seeing him drop like that. Like I've been on the other end of that, where I've kind of been dropped in a fight, and you miss a little bit of time. So you never want guys getting hurt, and regardless of the situation.
I've been in the same spot. So Marcus is the one that tagged me,
I think he might have said something to me about it.
And he's like, "You all right?" Mm-hmm. And it was the same. It's the same.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I was like, "No, I'm good." I'm bleeding. I was bleeding from my mouth because he caught me perfect, And but I was still full of pride. I was like, no, it's good. I'm good. I'm just struggling because my knee hurts. My knee hurts.
Yeah.
And I actually did hurt my knee.
Yeah. You start limping off instead
And I
of.
missed time because of the knee. But then there's also the element that, and people do forget this, that both players are people too. And there is, so I was in a fight with a guy, and it was before they had to have the helmet. You could still have helmets off when you're fighting, and his head hit the ice, and he was like done. And that one crushed me. I was like, oh my goodness, this is awful. I never want to hurt anybody ever again. And then I went probably, I don't know, a bunch of fights in a row where I didn't really want to punch anybody because I didn't want to hurt anybody. I was like, I can get through these just like wrestling, fighting, everything will be okay. And then I ended up having my youngest daughter or my oldest daughter, and I was like, well, I can't be taking all these punches now. Like, I can't be beat up. And I suppose it's better if it's him than me right now. So like the dynamic, the mentality of it changes.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to see a guy drop like that. Like that's, I thought that was pretty tough.
Just to hear Flower quote the Old Testament in his accent, an eye for an eye. I mean, that was worth it just for that with the helmet. But you guys, I mean, what's it like when you're in your hometown? Do you get like, is there a whole Dewey #1 section of Aquaman watching you, or what was that like when you play where you're from?
It's cool. It's cool. I usually get a pretty good crowd of people, whether it's like family friends or just childhood friends. They do a good job of kind of showing up and saying hi. So after the game, there's probably like 60 or 70 people that I was able to see. If we have a day off or something, I'll get to see some family too. But we were kind of in and out that time. But it was nice to see them after the game for sure.
Did you get any ownership of that trip? Like, did you pick a restaurant or any activities, or you didn't have enough time?
We didn't have enough time.
It was Tampa first, right back to back into Florida. So you got there late, play a game, bounce.
Right to the hotel, and then that was it.
So the bye week's coming up, All-Star break. This is something that just fascinates me, like dad's trips and Halloween parties. There's this tradition of this time off if you're not in the All-Star break in the middle of the season. So are there like top 3 destinations? Like, I'm just so curious, like, is it like, okay, there's Cabo, there's the 3 things you can do. I don't know if the family guys just stay home and like hang out with their kids, or what's a bye week like in the NHL, and what are you going to do?
I'm going to Turks and Caicos.
Nice.
We got a few guys going out there, so that should be pretty fun. Last year we did Cabo. So yeah, I can't complain about the breaks. I've had some pretty good ones.
Flower going?
Flower's going.
Uh-oh.
Dear Lord.
Can we book Flower for the podcast post All-Star break?
I'm really concerned for your safety.
Yeah,
You're so far away from help, too.
I know.
So who booked your travel? Did you book it?
I booked the travel, yeah. So basically, one guy kind of picks the location and says, this is kind of what we're doing, and I said,
You're
okay,
so
what
screwed.
Flight, what flight
Oh
are
my
we
God.
taking?
As long as it wasn't Flower. Because you might be
Flower
going
was
to
a late
Turks and
addition,
Caicos
but-
by yourself if Flower was the one that started this.
I think Flower heard me and Dewar were going, and then he got on it. Maybe he's got a
No.
prank set up over there or something. I don't
You
know.
need like a food taster. He could put like a great white shark into the water by you, like taking it too far.
Yeah,
I think you need an advanced team like the president has.
Yep.
You should have 2 different caravans of vehicles, so that he never knows which vehicle you're in.
Yep.
I would really get ahead of this.
Yeah.
You're
John's
so far
hoping-
away from home.
John's hoping you invite him to Turks and Caicos with you next week.
I'm
can you
totally
run
down.
Clear the schedule.
I'm totally down to go.
That's good.
How big a group going to Turks and Caicos?
I think it's 10 of us, 9 or 10 of us, so it should be pretty fun.
So is that just an awesome recharge? Like, Ryan's talked a lot about how this stretch of the season can be rugged. To get that week, get some sun on you, let loose a little bit. I mean, does that really get you kind of recharged to make the push?
100%. I think that the sun is the biggest thing for me, being from Florida and kind of growing up in that environment. Just being able to get in the sun for a few days, I think it's a pretty good recharge.
That vitamin D, we've talked about
Hey,
that.
why don't you run that
The
theory?
hockey
Run that
theory.
theory by him. See if I think you're right, by the way, but I don't want to hear what the Florida boy says about it.
Well, so if you just look at like playoff success and everything else over, let's just call it the last 20 years, there have been some some outliers, but the southern Sunbelt states have seemed to have had much more success than like even the Canadian teams. And some of that might be media pressure and all these other things. But I think there's an element to vitamin D sunshine that affects it too. So you look at like it was Carolina in 04, Ducks in 06, 07, LA Kings win 2 of them.
Double Tampa.
Tampa's got a couple, right? So all of a sudden, like these southern states, non-traditional hockey markets are winning and winning frequently and producing good hockey clubs. And I think a big part of it is just that. Like it's easy for them to recharge. I don't know. It's for me, it's kind of like your iPhone. You've got your 5 amp charger, then you've got the super fast charger, right? In Minnesota, Canada, you've got the 5 amp recharger. Like you need it plugged in overnight to get full battery. Florida, you go up for the afternoon and you hit the driving range, you golf, you go out for dinner, you've got flip flops on, boom, it's like you just recharged in hours.
So this is how you can decide if you think this would make a difference. So imagine we talk to Billy G and we say, hey, we're in the playoffs. We're going to set up a thing called Camp Stanley. Okay, we're down in Sunrise or we're down in Parkland. We're gonna be home base out of Florida or Naples, whatever. And you're going to go to games when you have games, but this is until the journey ends. We're right here, brothers, in the heat, in the sun, golf, good seafood. Would that be a little edge in the playoffs?
Yeah. I mean, you sold me on good food and some golf and some sun.
The bubble.
Because you don't want it to end. You don't, no matter how tired you are, this is like I'm on spring break and trying to achieve my hockey dream. We got to talk to Billy.
100%. And I would love to see the stat on like guys getting sick on, let's say, the Panthers versus like guys getting sick on our team. Like we had a span where we had probably 15 guys get a sickness over the course of a month. I wonder if southern teams with that warm weather kind of go through the same
Doesn't
thing.
wear you down.
Yeah, I wonder. I really
They've
do.
been golfing all year, so they don't get the itch as soon as it gets to 55 degrees like it does in
Panthers is the other one. Last year, they just went on a complete run.
Heater.
Boston's over there
Dallas has been
sneezing
to the
into
final.
Kleenex. It's breaking through. They got snot on their hands, getting their dunk in, and Florida just comes in and goes. Okay, so Camp Stanley. We'll try to find the right resort. All you guys got to do is just get into the playoffs. We'll take it from there. We'll get sunscreen. We'll take care of it.
Is there going to be any spearfishing in Turks and Caicos?
So I think it's not legal. Like I've done some research, and you're not allowed to spearfish in Turks and Caicos. So I'm bringing my fins, I'm bringing my snorkel, all that stuff, and I'll probably just do some lobstering.
Maybe bring your Triton, because is that considered spearfishing? So spearfishing is with like the
It's like got rubber bands on
with
it.
a gun.
Yeah.
It's a
But
gun.
there's a thing called a pole spear, and I even think that's illegal there too.
Okay.
So
But have you ever spearfished through the ice in Minnesota?
no, nothing like that.
Oh, you got it.
Now I know what you're talking about with like the
Through like a
Triton or
big-
whatever. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, I see. No, I've never done that.
Yeah. You'd be good at it.
I'd rather be in the water and kind of swimming.
Well, you can do it from in the water. It's just not comfortable.
Probably be a little cold.
Up in Lake Superior.
Get a wetsuit.
If there happens to be a spear fishing trip arranged in Turks and Caicos and Flowers like the one that hooked it up, you should not go.
No.
Okay. So this is a hard-hitting question. This is what we do at Wild on 7th. So if there was an action figure of Dewey 1, it would come with the spear fishing gun. Like you've got that cornered. Now we signed Bogosian and he actually looks like Aquaman.
Yeah.
Has that been troubling to you? Do you feel like he's creeping into your identity?
So we've had some conversations. He's more of like a hunter. Like he likes doing like
He likes pigs and
yeah, stuff like that. Like he's not a big water guy, so
but he's got the look.
So he's not a
he really
seal.
does have the look.
He's not a seal.
No.
Yeah, you'd be like a Navy SEAL. He'd be.
He'd be a ranger.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah.
Delta Force probably with the night vision. So that was a hard hitter. This is another hard hitter. I saw you take a face off last night, and Wilson was in the bubble, and it looked like you were talking a little bit. I'm just curious when you see a guy like Tom Wilson in a bubble, broke his nose. Is that almost like seeing a dog wearing one of those cones or something? Like, what was he saying to you? Were you having a little chat? Was he like, yeah, I'm still the same Willie. I might be wearing a bubble.
I don't remember I think it was like he might have clipped a guy. I don't know. I think it was a clean hit or whatever, but it kind of looked bad from my angle. So I don't know. I just kind of gave him a tap, and he didn't think it was a bad hit or whatever. So we kind of went back and forth a little bit. But
He has to hate that.
Oh,
like that
sure,
recovery
right? Like,
period.
that whole thing of just wearing that, like I can
He
never.
looked
go
like
back
a
to that
college
level.
player.
I know. It's just, I mean, he's Big Willie, right? And he's doing all the things. And then to have, I all I could think of was when my dog would get hot spots and have to wear that cone, and just how ashamed they were. I mean, I saw you talking. I was just wondering what you were talking about.
Yeah, it's all he's fogging up too when he's talking, so it's tough.
Yeah, and then any hit, like it's just you need like a windshield washer on the inside of that thing to clean it off.
Brutal.
So how has it been without Dewey too? Is there any separation anxiety?
A little bit, yeah. I get a little bit lost here and there, but I got a few other friends on the team that I can hang out with, so it's all good.
Well, now he's got the mullet, so he's coming back even stronger. So All-Star break, 97's going to Toronto. What would you say playing with Kirill? You know, he's an All-Star for the Wild this year. What's special about him as a player? What's he like as a teammate, and what's he like as a dude?
I mean, you guys see what he does on the ice. It's special. His edge work, his compete, his his willingness to kind of do what it takes for the team. We kind of touched on it after the Carolina game. Like, he had the hat trick, but 2 minutes left. They kick it back up to Brent Burns, and he's walking down for a 1-T, and Krill's down on one knee and blocks a shot. So it's a testament to who he is and the kind of player he is for this team. He does it all. Off the ice, he's just a funny, goofy guy. His English is good, contrary to what everyone thinks. But you see, he's a funny guy, and we're lucky to have him.
Yeah, he's a gamer for sure. I wonder what that's like. So you guys are going to Turks and Caicos, and he's got to go to Toronto and get pulled around by his collar, going to talk to all these. It's almost like you lose when you win, right? I mean, he can't be thrilled about that.
I don't know where his head's at for it, but me personally, I think I'd rather go to Turks and Caicos.
I think so
Get
too.
some sun, and
Although
it can't be too bad to play in the All-Star game,
Yeah,
right? Like,
yeah.
I guess it's a win-win.
You got the way I would say that you get the rest of your life to go to Turks and Caicos.
Yeah.
You don't have the rest of your life to play in an All-Star game.
I'll tell my kids I just opted out of the All-Star game and went to Turks instead.
yeah, that's a
They
good
were
way.
they had a couple of votes, but it's okay.
Yeah,
kids. I thought it best I let Kirill go.
Mm-hmm.
So you were talking about Kirill blocking a shot. You just got done with Alex Ovechkin, the big one-timer over there. You were on the kill, and I saw a couple times. Like, was the game plan to like flex out and not let the big dog eat there with the one-timer? Because, well, one, like, what's the mentality going into the game? Like, man, I might have to eat this thing. This is gonna absolutely stink. But it did look like you're like, I'm actually not gonna eat this. I'm gonna make sure the pass doesn't get there.
Yeah, so our game plan was kind of treated as just any other option, but mentally you're thinking like, if I throw a stick out there, he might have to back up a little further, and he might deter him from shooting that puck. And I think there was one last game where he kind of was torqued up, ready for one, and then he threw a fake on it. So that was nice for me. I didn't have to take that one to the face, but I thought the kill did a good job. We slipped up there for 5 seconds. They sifted one in and got a tip, but. I thought her PK was pretty good.
Well, I think if you analyze that, though, you're kind of happy with what was given up. So you didn't let Alex Ovechkin beat you. I don't think he was dangerous on the power play at all. You kept the puck on one half of the ice. Like, Carlson couldn't get it over to Ovechkin for the one-timer because they were on, like, the far side of the ice, and that pass would have taken forever. So, in general, I do think that the kill did a good job. They gave up the late goal on a middle top shot tip from Oshie and Carlson, but yeah, that's sometimes you think, and I've seen Ovi, Jack Hillen, he played or he's from Minnesota, was playing on the Islanders, and other guys too have taken the Ovechkin slapper with honor, and it is scary. It is scary. So what's changed under Coach Hines and maybe Coach Dwyer on the kill? Have you noticed? Does anything stand out to you? Say like this is noticeably different than under Evison?
Yeah, nothing crazy. I think just being a little more aggressive coming out of our own zone, and whether that's kind of having that D jump up and, being that fourth guy for the rush or, dump ins, being a little smarter on placements and stuff. And just being able to put it in a spot where you kind of get it back, stick on puck, the attention to detail. There's a few things, and I thought he's done a really good job systematically, kind of tweaking a few things. And PK wise, obviously we struggled at the beginning there. I think we're kind of finding it. We slip up for a game in Tampa, but you look at the goals that were given up in Tampa. Maybe we had one systematic error, but the other two is like. For example, that Stamkos one, it's going 5 feet wide and it hits off a guy's shoulder, hits off our own guy's shoulder and goes in. So there's just a few things that, a few bad bounces in that aspect.
How much are the D loving this fourth guy up in the play? Like Middleton's got 7 goals right now. He's on what maybe we could call a heater. I think he'd be comfortable calling it a heater. I don't want to disrespect him.
You know that Wes called him Midstrom.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Nick
amazing.
Midstrom?
Yeah. I was like, I can't get it out of my head every time I see that mustache on TV. I just think Midstrom. He would love that, by the way. But yeah, the activated D, man.
And then Faber too, like Faber's goal last game.
Impressive.
I mean, that's
he's
right
very,
point,
very good.
low left side. Like, yeah. I mean, in general, you think the D are loving just like the freedom to get up there?
I'm sure, yeah. And that was kind of an emphasis for us last game was having that D kind of move in, and then you see it on Faber's goal in the first there. He's that high defenseman. He rotates all the way over, all the way down, and then through the goal line comes up and finds that puck. So, he's a pretty special player, that Faber. So we're lucky to have him.
Any part of that annoying as a forward? Because you're like, son of a biscuit, now these D get to do my job.
Yeah,
like, I'd like to
they
be
get
up
the easy
there,
tap-ins down low.
It's like, hey, dudes, so that just so you know, that was a forward that got past layer 1, and the D are able to collect a rebound. Hey, D, it's not that hard. Can
They're
you
the
just get
heroes.
it past that first guy?
Yeah.
So Shawzy got back on the ice the other night. I'm just curious. You certainly know him and played with him and watched him. I mean, I don't think anybody's had to battle like that guy. Was that something you got your eye and seeing him work his way all the way back? I mean, just watching him this summer at concerts leaning this way or at the state fair or whatever, it was pretty cool to see him. Looked like he laid a guy out in that game too.
Yeah, it's impressive. I think a few of the guys watched that first game. I was out to dinner and couldn't tune in, but they said he looked good. He's finding his game. Obviously, it's not easy taking. I think it was like 290 days or something between his last 2 games. So,
Still amazing though that you can recover from an ACL in 290 days.
It's
just a couple years ago where that was auto 1 year.
His 4th one. Like he's a warrior. I mean, you could say a million good things about him, but I think just the main thing is that he's a warrior and he battled back from that is pretty incredible.
We've heard you're really vocal on the bench. What's your game plan? Like, are you just a energy guy? Just because I when I play on Tuesday nights in beer league, I like chatter, man. I think everything's better if you're on that bench where it's just like it feels like you got a vibe going. What are you saying and doing, and how do you bring the energy?
It's a lot of nonsense. It's not a lot of anything coaching wise or anything hockey related. Really, it's more just banter and trying to keep myself in it. Fourth line guy. Sometimes you take a few shifts off where you try to stay in it mentally and stay in it physically. And I think that for me is just being vocal on the bench and trying to chip in any way possible.
I do a lot of time on Instagram getting ready for these interviews, and you won the Clark Cup back in the day. And I'm curious, as you think about the Wild and the playoffs and that run you went on with that group, what do you like about this room? All we want is that second season, right? Get in there and give the state of hockey a cherry on top someday with the cup. What do you like about your room in terms of leadership? You got some young guys in terms of taking a journey to get a championship.
Yeah, I mean, I love the group. I've been saying it since I got here, and from the day I made the team out of camp, and just feeling like I was part of that team. Like guys really took me under their wing and made me feel a part of it. And I, to this day, I still feel like this is the group to win something. Like I think we're pretty well structured, and I think the forward group is special with, kind of Curl leading the way, and then our decor is just super solid. With our, shutdown pairs, whether it's Broads and Fabes or Midge chipping in offensively, like I think we're doing a really good job of, kind of trending in the right direction, and we're built for a playoff run.
This state of the team, like it's kind of been a tough year in that it seems like you guys are always facing something, whether it's guys sick, like you start to get momentum and then everybody's getting ill, or guys are getting injured, or a coaching change, or it seems like there's always been a wrench thrown at you guys at maybe the most inopportune times. Where's the state of the team now? I mean, outside of the playoffs looking in, but the game's trending in the right direction. You've won 3 games in a row. Like, where are you guys at, you think, mentally, and what are you hoping to do?
Just every game's kind of not make or break for us, but, we need these points. Every game's going to matter for us, and heading into the break, we know we got an opportunity to kind of take the next 2 and put ourselves in a better spot than we were in before, and after All-Star break, we're going to have to come in and play even better hockey than we've played in our past couple of games. So these next 2 games coming up here are huge for us.
I suppose one more from that, too, because one of those wrenches thrown at you is when you guys were in Tampa, I think it's Jared Spurgeon kind of out for the year. You've got your captain, always so steady, good at so many different things. What's it like to get that news, and what's the feeling in the locker room when you get it?
Definitely tough. Knowing that he's not going to be with us for the year. Obviously, he'll be in the locker room and kind of give us as much leadership that way as he can. But guys stepping up, that next man up mentality, and I think Murmis has done a really good job of kind of stepping in and playing that. Obviously, it's big shoes to fill in Spurgeon, but I think he's doing a really, really good job of it.
Yeah, no question. No question. Well, I think that's probably it. We'll let you get out of here, man. You're busy this time of year, so appreciate you spending a couple minutes with us. We will be praying for your safety from here on out.
Yeah, if you guys don't hear from me.
I would really
This
consider
is all on record.
Yeah,
we did record this. Okay, so we'll make sure that everybody knows that Flowers after you.
Use that safe in your hotel room with your passport in there. Just, I would really consider multiple sets of vehicles, a taster. Good luck out there. We're praying for you.
Be good. Thanks,
Appreciate
man.
you guys.
Peace, brother.
Thanks for having me.